Hello. So, I have class in like 15 minutes. Well, I have to leave for class in like 15 minutes. So, we're going to try to speed run this. But today I wanted to talk about how Elm Street 2010 was treated very badly. And it's been 12 years, but I want to go back and I want to make my statement in defense of the Elm Street remake. I have notes. I think that because of what the source material was, Elm Street is very cheesy 80s, right? Right. So I feel like if they would have tried to make it campy, it would have been seen as cheesy nowadays. But if they would have tried to make it scary, like they did, then they weren't following the source material and nobody liked it. I feel like this was a lose-lose. I do think that if Elm Street 2010 would have been like a completely separate movie, like if they would have taken all these different like themes and just used a different monster instead of Freddy, I think people would have liked it. It's got Rooney Mara and Kyle Gallner in it. Like, it's a good movie. So I wanted to talk about that. And I just want to say that I know a lot of people didn't like it because Freddy was like darker, but Wes Craven originally intended for Freddy Krueger's story to be about a child molester. So I do think that Freddy being darker and not being as funny, I think it goes with the themes of of 2010. I think if they would have made him explicitly commit the crimes that Wes Craven originally wanted him to commit, having it be like this like funny, like quirky villain, I feel like that would have gone over very badly. So I think that their choice to not have Freddy be like a quirky guy, I think it was a good decision. I thought it was really bold for them to have CSA as like a big topic in their film. I thought it was really ballsy, and I appreciate it for it. Even, you know what I mean? Like, not only are we talking about topics that are very taboo in Hollywood, but we are talking about empowering survivors to get back at the people who inflicted pain on them. But Elm Street 2010 does this in a way that isn't like I Spit on Your Grave. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a revenge rape movie in the traditional sense. And I think that's why I like it better than the majority of revenge rape films. Because it's scary, but it's not graphic or explicit in terms of sex. And I really appreciate that. I feel like if you're gonna make a movie about sexual assault, being really in your face about it and only using it for its shock value, I feel like that's very crude. I also just wanted to say that there are a lot of aspects of this movie that directly correlate with like PTSD responses and trauma responses. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought that the use of nightmares, the idea that Freddy did this to them, so he's haunting their nightmares metaphorically until he does actually come to life and he's actually haunting their nightmares, is a very interesting topic, and I think this works a lot better for the 2010 version than for the original. I also want to say that my guinea pigs are running around, and if you hear them, I'm sorry. The whole I quite like this movie just because knowing about micro naps did get me a bonus point on an exam one time, but also I think dissociation is a big part of trauma, and I think the way that Quentin he abuses substances, another impact of trauma. And then there's a specific line in the movie, and I can't remember. He says something about, like, I don't know what's real anymore. And it's him talking about how he can't tell if he's awake or not. And I know that this isn't directly talking about dissociation, but I think that if we're looking from this movie from the perspective of it being about CSA, then I think dissociation works really well here. All I'm gonna say is, I think Elm Street 2010 deserves a second chance. It's not amazing, don't get me wrong, but I think everybody was a lot too harsh on it, especially considering the source material. So yeah, give Elm Street 2010 another chance, and I hope you have a nice day, and